Last week, we wanted that Euro USD short. Janet Yellen sufficed for the first time, okay, all this year. All right, let's roll the intro. Let's talk about it. All right, traders, welcome back, guys, to another Sunday market breakdown. It's your boy Cleveland here, and I hope you guys are having an awesome weekend, but it's time to get back into these charts. All right, let's throw out these projections. And let's see if we can make some money last week. Had a pretty good week last week. What I want you guys to do is to go down in the description below. If you didn't watch last week's Sunday market breakdown, check it out. Check it out. It'll help you know exactly what I was looking for. You can now see exactly where we are. And again, you can hold me accountable to seeing exactly, if I know what I'm talking about here. All right. And so far, so good. And by the way, folks, this stuff happens pretty quick. Last week's move happened pretty quick. So make sure you're subscribed and have your notification little thing on too, so that you get this stuff as soon as it comes out. And as always, guys, like the video for your boy, okay? Please help me out. So last week, guys, I was pretty nervous because Janet Yellen, anytime we ask Janet Yellen, it's a running joke in our community, anytime we ask her for some strength, okay? Janet, help us out. Give us some U.S. strength. Right now, the market structure is beautiful, and if we get some sell-side strength on this Euro USD or whatever pair we're trying to play, then we will make some money, all right? Because we know that the pricing in of all the data that you're about to throw out there is going to aid us into, having a beautiful directional move to some sell side area, okay? And again, most of the times where I ask her to do that and fulfill that obligation for the top trader community, she bails, okay? She does the exact opposite, all right? So what we're gonna do is I want you guys to watch last week's trade idea on the Euro USD, okay, in hopes that Janet Yellen fulfilled with some US strength, and we'll see where we're at today, all right? So check out this recap. Sell side more than the buy side, but the buy side is still feasible depending on what kind of implications come to fruition this week, okay? But let's see if we can short this market, all right? Let's see if we can short this market outside of this level here. Maybe we'll have an earlier entry. Maybe we'll have earlier entry before we get the break here at 1860. I would rather not, that's a little bit far away. Maybe we can get a little bit of a market push higher and then markets turn over a bit. But if we have to take the break, then we have to take the break, okay? So before we talk about it, you guys need to go watch the high impact video if you haven't seen it. That's what we were discussing. That's what we were looking for this week for that US strength, okay? I mentioned it in a high impact video. We wanted her to start doing the tapering of that balance sheet, right? The $4.5 trillion balance sheet. We wanted her to start lowering the balance sheet via selling, letting all the maturities and the mortgage-backed securities mature, okay? And that's exactly what she's doing. But what's awesome is that she said she's gonna start that process in October, okay? So boom, that gave us a nice little push to the sell side. And what also happened was the economic projections that she had from now until 2020 were also very positive. So that sold us off all the way down into the 1860s, okay? And if you heard what I mentioned there, I would have loved for us to get to the 18 flats. But I said that we're going to get a lot of volatility right here at this 1860 number because, again, that was just the lowest structure. And we have not seen the euro. If you look at the entire euro move that we have seen in 2017, the euro has yet to break out of some consolidation. It will retest that high, that consolidation, but it has not come back into that consolidation, okay? So here are two 200 pip chunks, okay, 200 pip consolidated levels on that Euro USD right now. And as you guys can see, we did not break back into that under the 1860s, down into the 18 flats into the high 17s. All right, that would have been awesome, but it would have been the first time that it happened. And you guys know me, all right, I'm a little bit skeptical or a little bit more reserved when it comes to price action and moves. So it coming down into the 18 flat was fine for me. That's where I took profit one, and then I got stopped out when markets moved back higher in my direction. As you guys can see, it's back up into the mids of the entire sell-off, okay? So now it's like, all right, what are we looking for on the Euro USD this week? All right, we're stuck inside this consolidation. We'll talk about it. We'll head over into the charts and see exactly what we can get. High impact is coming out tomorrow, so make sure, again, you guys are like to subscribe because that's going to come out real quick. And we're going to talk about some of the fundamental data at hand, but we're going to save the Sunday market breakdown for the technicals, okay? So there was also a USD CAD call last week that worked out pretty well. As you guys can understand, when Janet Yellen gave US strength, she gave US strength to all of the USD. So buying that US CAD was also a great trade idea, and it worked out pretty well. Here's a recap for the US CAD trade idea. So again, maybe we get a crack right here of this 23.6 back up into structure. Looks like that 50% level could be something that is very feasible there. So US CAD is very interesting. Here's a daily of the US CAD right here, okay? If you guys can see, these are some monstrous wicks, and I did get wicked out of this US CAD. Once I got triggered in on the 23.6 break, markets moved quickly up into the 38.2, which actually was 90 pip move. All right, so I stopped in the break even around 50 pips, and then as you can see, markets sold off immensely and then ran right back up and then popped, hit off on the 50% retracement level. I think markets can still have a little bit more of a push higher. Maybe we'll get to the actual target, was the 61.8. All right, so I got wicked out of the USD CAD, a lot more volatile than I anticipated. But hey, out of 15 trades, how many are actually going to do what you want? All right, this is something that we always talk about in the top trader community. Out of 15 positions, maybe half of those positions will go in your direction, and those 7 or 8 positions that go in your direction, maybe 2 or 3 are going to do exactly what you thought. Okay, break even should be a major part of your trading based off of the volatility, and volatility being one of the harder things to adjust to and understand in these markets. Okay, it's not just about trade direction. All right, when you're executing in a trade idea, this is something that a lot of people don't understand that you should incorporate into your system. Okay, into your strategy. When you're executing a trade idea, you're not only worried about the direction of the move. Okay, that's just one variable. There are 3 variables when you're looking for a trade idea and markets to go in your direction. There is direction, all right, there's directional bias, there's also volatility, and there's also timing, right? Those 3 things right there, once aligned and once you can understand, yeah, it increases the propensity of you having good trading ideas, all right? But if you don't adjust to the volatility, then again, markets may go in your direction, but they might wick you out before you execute on anything. And if you don't understand timing and how this fundamental data, all right, gyrates this market around, then you're going to be looking for trade decisions at the wrong time, and it's not going to execute well for you, okay? So that's why I'm so tied into the fundamentals. All right, if I didn't know, or if I didn't see the structure at that moment and see how this Euro U was hitting at this 20 flat number, I wouldn't have known to execute at the 1950s, okay? Because I saw how, wow, we could have rolled this entire buy-side push if we get some US strength, and we'll come right back down to the target 1. And that's just based off of the understanding of order flow, understanding of the liquidity, and understanding of market positioning, okay? And so that's why that trade worked out so well. Hopefully we get some same opportunities this week. So we also had an NZD-USD call as well. I did not have any exposure on the NZDU. A lot of the top traders had exposure on NZDU. I just, I don't know, when markets ran on Sunday night, what you guys will notice, I'll throw you guys a screenshot. This market was already a little bit broken above the 38.2. We did get a larger pullback where I could have got an entry, but that didn't execute so well. Here's a playback of the NZDU. Maybe if we get that US weakness, we have a very nice ceiling that we can pop above, and it'd be a really fruitful trade up into the 61.8, and again, maybe even further. It looks like this thing could probably run into the 78.6. All right, so as you guys can see right now, here's a screenshot. NZDU ran all the way to the 61.8. Okay, and this was a play that we've been waiting on for about 2.5, 3 weeks. Okay, so the NZD-USD was a very good structural move. I liked, again, the positioning of the market, and I felt as if we had any US weakness, that we would get some of that liquidity fulfilled. Now, I know, again, if we get US, I was looking for US strength on some other pairs, but I also have plays if we get US weakness, right? So I'm not going to play the same pair, right? If I want US strength, I'm not going to just say, okay, if I want US strength, I'm going to buy the euro. Sell the euro. And then if I want US weakness, I'm going to buy the euro. No, I'm going to look for markets that structurally align to me having those good opportunities. And even though we got the US weakness this week, what you can notice is that the NZD is somewhat up. Okay, it's about 50 or 60 pips up from the start of the week last week. Again, mostly because of the market positioning. All right, so earlier in that week, we had a huge spike to the buy side on the NZDU, and then markets sold off back in. I think that would have been a good opportunity for me to make some kind of money on it. But I was not exposed. Some of our top traders were, so that's all right. All right, so guys, let's go into the charts. Let's see what we got this week. Again, fundamentals are going to be coming out tomorrow, so I'm going to go over all the technicals and what I'm looking for. I'm going to tie in a little bit of the fundamentals, but I'm going to elaborate on the fundamentals and exactly what we want to see tomorrow, okay? And again, don't forget, I'm your boy, so like this video, all right? I got you, all right? This stuff is free. All right, guys, let's pull over into the charts. Let's see what we got. I do like the structure this week. I think we can make some money this week. Let's pull over into the charts and see what we got, all right? All right, traders, let's push over into these charts real quick. I want to show you guys that Merkel did just win the German elections, so that's why you're getting this gap down here. Remember, Merkel's a nationalist, and nationalists don't fawn too kindly to the euro. You guys can remember back when it was Macron versus Marie Le Pen. Marie Le Pen was a nationalist. She talked about exiting the euro, okay, and that gave a lot of weakness to the euro U until those elections played out. And with her winning, again, is she as national to the degree of Marie Le Pen?
Absolutely not. Okay, but is she still for a stronger euro? She is. Okay, if it feels up to her, this euro should be probably at $1.30, $1.35 right now. Okay, because you guys got to understand, the Germans, they have probably the best import-export business in the entire world. Okay, and when it comes to exporting goods with a weaker currency, they're not getting enough bang for their buck. Right, the currency is weak, which means the products that they're selling overseas, or the returns that they're getting, aren't as high as they would want them to be. All right, so when you have a weaker currency, that affects GDP in that capacity. And again, with the stronger currency, that would aid them in having more capital coming into the economy via those outside resources, right? Okay, so again, let's see what happens in that regard. I don't think that's going to give us too much volatility until she starts making statements and different proclamations about where she wants the euro and what she wants to do in regards to the euro. If she ever says anything as, I don't want to say irrational, but as far right as Marie Le Pen did, then yes, folks, we will see this market finally break under these mid 18s. All right, this consolidation will erode and we will come down into the mid 18s, and that's the trade I am looking for. I know that there is a little bit more upside potential here on this Euro USD, and I'm not saying that it won't happen. Okay, but I always like to have a bias, and my bias is short. Now, is that going to happen before I get a buy side opportunity? Maybe not. All right, but again, my bias is short. I'm just waiting on those different economic releases and political ideas to rationalize. This week we have a lot of data coming out. We have unemployment claims, we have GDP, we have crude oil inventories for the U.S., and we also have Draghi speaking on Thursday. So I think we'll get enough volatility this week to whip us around a bit, maybe whipping us outside of the structure if most of that economic data is going to be in the favor of the U.S. side. All right. So again, let's see that happen. Because other than that, folks, I don't have a trade for you. I really don't. If we pull over here to the this fib from the high to the low, markets are still extremely accelerated. All right, as you guys can see, from the low of 2017 to the high, we have yet to even come back and hit off on this 23.6. We have to pull over into this July low to this high. As you guys can see, okay, we have markets that have ranged to the extent of actually hitting off on some fib retracement, which is also the structural low that I mentioned earlier. All right, so let's see if markets can break this low, because if markets can break this low, where are we running, guys? Running right to that 38.2. So if we get a continuation of that U.S. strength, then that'll be awesome. I think Merkel could help in that aspect of things, but North Korea could be detrimental to us. Gold right now, folks, is sitting at a pretty nice level. If North Korea wants to do anything irrational or crazy this week, then we will see gold rebound here at 13 flat, and it can run potentially back up into structure, maybe into the mid of structure there, which will give the U.S. dollar some weakness. So things are, I don't want to say things are looking up for the U.S. dollar. Nothing is ever looking up for the U.S. dollar with Trump in the White House. But I do think that there could be a propensity to start pushing markets back into a new consolidation. Guys, that's major. Okay, when it comes to markets being in a consolidated area and then pulling back into some type of consolidation, that has yet to happen in 2017. After we break out of this range here at the $0.08, as you guys can see, we have yet to pull back higher than some break of some consolidation that happened, earlier within the week there. Okay, so boom, boom, boom. As you guys can see here, this is another chance, okay, for markets to break back down into some structure. Let's hope for that to happen. Now, if we get markets to start coming up into this $1.20, and I see markets start, pushing back up into this level, then we might be able to catch a little run from the $1.20 up into, maybe the $1.20 mids, potentially to the $1.21 flats, and then maybe we move stops, put on our trailings, and then see how much it runs depending on what's happening. But if we can stay underneath the $1.20, maybe we hit back off on it. Maybe markets range back up inside of this level here. But if we can stay under $1.20, folks, and then get that U.S. news, then we'll have a really, really pretty short opportunity that we can take. Maybe we enter back into the 19 mids, and then maybe we can ride markets outside of the 18 mids to the 18 flats, and then potentially to the 17 highs, which will be that 38.2. It's as simple as that. It's simple as that. Do I have the trade right now? Absolutely not. Just have the directional bias, guys. And the only reason why I have the directional bias is because I'm hoping for U.S. strength. My complete trade decision has not come to fruition yet. I still have a couple of things hanging out there that I need to happen for me to have any true blue opportunity. So sitting on my hands, guys. Sitting on my hands. You got to know what you're looking for. And that would be a 23 break, of course. So pretty pretty awesome opportunity there. Aussie dollar is interesting because we were saying how in aligning with the NZDU last week, we mentioned how maybe we can get, if we get that US weakness during the webinar, we said maybe if markets can hang here at this 18 flat, it looks very, very feasible for markets to come back up into the high, and that happened. But then, as you guys can see, we then had the US strength come flooding into the market here, which is taking us down to the 61.8, which was our target to the sell side. So that Aussie was absolutely wild. Same story here for the Aussie USD. Again, I don't love the structure on this thing. As you guys can see, it is quite outlandish. Maybe we can get markets to settle underneath the 50, start ranging around the 50, and then we can get a market retest down to the 100% retracement level. Again, this isn't the most beautiful structure at the moment. I need a really nice directional move for me to start getting some good opportunities here, and I have yet to get it. So do we have volatility picking up? We absolutely do. Look at the past couple of time frames here, as you guys can, times here on the daily, as you guys can notice. Pretty big candle, pretty big candle, pretty big candle. We had a pretty slow day the other day. We're dealing with the Sunday overnight at the moment. Let's see what Monday looks like. But we're getting more volatility, and that will potentially add up to a nice potential, move for us, a nice potential trading opportunity. Because before, look at what we were getting, guys. Look how small these candles are. There was no profit potential in this crap, okay? You don't have much. All right, so the sell side position was a great trade for the Aussie U if you were thinking that, or if you're looking around over there. I just personally wasn't. I was looking at this NZDU. All right, so let's take a look at this NZD-USD real quick. I know I showed you guys earlier where we're at, but again, same scenario. All right, we were looking for a 23 break, and look at that. All right, we got it, but was it a struggle to get it? Okay, markets were very ugly to try to break outside of that 38.2. And once they broke out the 38.2, I absolutely just ran to the 61.8. And as you guys can see, we've since rebounded again. So I'm not saying all the trade ideas or the trading opportunity for this NZDU is gone. We did have a Kiwi election. We might be talking about the elections tomorrow just to kind of just inform you guys exactly what's happening in the political spectrum. But long story short, potentially we'll get some some NZD weakness and have markets NZD strength and have markets come back up into these highs here. We'll just have to see. And again, that's on the precipice that this US strength is going to actually kick off. This is what we're looking like on the monthly. Okay, if I draw up the fib for you guys so you can see exactly where we are at. We have yet to come down to the 38.2 after we've had this massive pullback on this NZDU. Okay, 38.2 would be the 70 flat for us. All right, if I pull this off real quick so you guys can see it a little bit better. You guys can notice that this is where we're at, and this is why we're having such a hard time breaking outside of this level. Okay, this is why last week, not last week, but 2 weeks ago in the NZDU was a very difficult time for us. When we were hovering between that 38.2 and that 23.6. Okay, this area here. Okay, it's because of all of this structure there. Okay, all this structure there is giving us a very hard situation to be in when it comes to making a directional move, because markets are, you had this huge spike outside of this range. Markets want to rebound, okay, but they're being suppressed by this previous structure. Very, very interesting to see this happening, okay? So if we pull back over to the weekly, let's get a look at the weekly. Definitive area, guys, is the 73.30s. I mean, look at the 73.30s and how structurally 73.30s have been a very, very difficult level for this NZDU to penetrate. And this is what I'm saying, guys. If we get NZD strength, man, will we run to the high. Okay, the 75 mids will be a very, very good looking spot to start, mitigating losses and taking profit. But if we can get outside of the 1730s, folks, you can call it 1740s if you're a little bit worried, 1750s. If we can start getting out of that little range there, then I think we could run easily to the 74 flats and then easily outside of that. So I am looking for NZD to give us some strength. Again, folks, I am rationalizing things right now in terms of the NZD. If this data comes out this week, weak for the US dollar, then this would be a nice play to play this thing outside that 73.30s back up into the structure here. All right, and it looks pretty good. If we draw from the high to the low, what are we looking at? From the high to the low, we are still hanging around that 38.2, and from the complete low of structure to the high of structure here, we are hanging right at a 38.2. Okay, right at a 38.2. We're looking for markets to come retest to 23.6 and then maybe have a full 100% retracement. All right, so we have multiple fib synergies going on. The range is existing right now from the low to the high. We have a range that is existing from the 23.6, markets having a hard time breaking below the 23.6, but also markets having a hard time breaking above this 23.6 here. Okay, so very interesting to see the fib synergies. Again, would like to see markets crack outside of that. Other than that, will this be a pretty, will this be a nice U.S. strength? I think we can find U.S. strength and play U.S. strength on a couple of other pairs better than the NZD USD, and one of those pairs is the GBP USD. A lot of folks tried to play in this GBP USD in the past 2 weeks. I wasn't one. Okay, as you guys know, I missed the beautiful run up. All right, which we forecasted. And since then, we really kind of sat last week within the high of that structure. And I was not wanting to play in that. All right, I felt as if markets had to settle a bit, and that's exactly what we got. Look at this. Okay, so if we can crack at 34.70, I would love to take markets lower. It's a very simple trade. It looks like it's a 23.6% retracement break. Boom. I mean, there's nothing else to really talk about. U.S. weakness, U.S. strength. If U.S. strength preludes, then this would be a great opportunity for us to take markets short back down in potentially to the this range here that exists at 38.2 and this 50% retracement level. Okay, so why play strength on the NZD USD? Now, could the NZD USD rip and have some ridiculously beautiful move, cracking structure and eroding this entire sell side position and having markets come all the way down to 38.2? Yes. Okay, like I always say, yes, that could happen. But I have seen that the better looking the structure on the chart, the better looking the chart, the higher propensity of a nice sell side position. All right. So let's see what happens this week. Again, most of the U.S. fundamentals we get are going to be coming out on Tuesday, Wednesday. Monday might be a pretty calm day. We have consumer confidence coming out, but outside of that, Monday might be a pretty calm day. Let's look at this USD JPY. USD JPY went on a little tirade. All right, look at this. Look at this USD JPY on the 4-hour. If I pull over into the daily, you guys can see that it looks like we're coming potentially back up into the high of these structures here. So have I been in this USD JPY? I have not. I was making, I was cracking a joke with one of my top traders, and I always do analysis on this USD JPY, but all this year, maybe once I've actually executed a position on it. And it flows. It flows pretty well. As you guys can see here, when you get a directional move on this thing, it looks like it can work out, but I just haven't had any exposure on any of this stuff. At least when it comes to this USD JPY. So let's see if we get a continuation in the JPY. We do have the JPY governor speaking on Thursday. That might give you some JPY volatility. Just pick the right direction, folks, and you'll be in. I guess that's the business, right? Pick the right direction. Sorry for the blatancy, but at the end of the day, it's the truth. If we get a little bit of a pullback here, that might be something that can make us some money here. All right, so if this U.S. weakness does play out, maybe you get a pullback on this USD JPY back down into structure on the 23.6, and then hopefully again you get markets lower. Maybe you can pull back down to the 50% retracement level here. Okay, that's what I'm looking like on this USD JPY. So the US CAD, that will be the last one we look at, unless something else pops in my head. This US CAD was again a very, very pretty move back up into structure after our 23 break here. I'm keeping having to zoom in. Okay, so here's our 23 break, folks. Boom. All right, markets ripped the 23 break up into this 50% level. Was looking for markets to come all the way up into the 24.30s. Okay, the 24 mids. Didn't happen. Interesting. All right, so as you guys can see, we have formed a pretty decent little ceiling here. It's slightly sloping, but maybe you get a run up into structure again. If I show you guys on a weekly what we're looking like on this US CAD, again, you're just getting a retest of the previous low. And then after that, you might just get a continuation on this US CAD in terms of US CAD strength. I mean, US CAD, again, I'm not the guy to call, breakouts of structure unless I have the data to make it happen. Okay. So other than that, I'll love to play the retest. All right. I'll love to play the break of structure. Oh, consolidation. Well, yeah, it's likely that we'll retest the move, but will we get a continuation and break out of this channel here on this CAD? I don't want to be that guy. So maybe if we can get markets to come up into that 61.8, you guys see there how it aligns pretty well with the high of the channel. We can start shorting this market back down in. Okay, so that's something I was looking at. So let's look at the GBP AUD real quick and see if there's any kind of divergence going on there. Massive move happened on the GBP AUD over the past 10 trading days, and as you guys can see, we are pulling back a bit here. So I just don't. It doesn't look, it doesn't look amazing, the structure on it. Let's see from the low to the high. What are we looking like? We have had markets, they're sitting right now at the 23.6. It's not so bad. So this is another scenario that is dealing right now with potential Brexit implications. The Kiwi has implications based off of its election. Gold may have some implications with the Australian dollar. Crude oil, iron ore, all those different things there could give this GBP AUD, some kind of sell side idea. Okay, so let's see what happens. Now, we do want to play the GBP short on the USD side. Maybe if we get some Aussie strength, we can play that on this end here. Okay, play that back down into structure to the 38.2. That's the easiest level to take it to. Down to the 61.8 would be the ideal level to take markets down into. Previous structure, very solid retracement size. Would be going with the general trend in a sense, right, on the larger scale. Okay, let's see if we get that strength. That weakness here on this GBP, which would give us conversely that strength on that Aussie dollar. Okay, so guys, let's see what we get this week. If you guys aren't in the Top Trader community, you need to hop over in there because we're gonna have a webinar tonight. We have a webinar on Tuesday. We have a webinar on Thursday. So we're following up with these moves as they play out. And my exposure is known throughout these moves as well. Okay, so that just gives you guys an immense edge into being able to execute this stuff with us and to actually learn this stuff, as well, outside of just the Monday breakdown and the high impact. All right, so got a couple of extra content segments coming out this week that I'm really excited about. So you guys stay tuned for that. And as always, like and subscribe, folks. Okay, guys, let's see what we get this week. Your profit, always my motive. I'll talk to you guys very soon.